All right, here we go. It is the late night, super late night nightcap right here on BearcatJournal.com. Brought to you, as always, by our good friends at Galactic Fried Chicken. Make sure you get down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15%. Or go to the app. You can find it at www.galacticfriedchicken.com. And they will deliver pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. All right, Aaron.
All right, Chad.
So the Bearcats are 81-72 winners tonight over Virginia Tech. And there's a lot to talk about. I just felt this was we could have recorded, but for those that were there, for those that enjoyed the atmosphere and got to experience things maybe from a different perspective, I thought this would be a good night to have a little late night action. And if you missed it tonight, then you can certainly jump back in tomorrow morning and obviously replay it. But let's discuss. First off, I think that's where we start. Samuel says, hell of a crowd. That was fun, especially second half once that place got rocking and rolling. Could you feel it on TV? Could you tell it was cranking?
The color analyst at times was almost even with the crowd noise. And I thought that was nothing short of impressive. But I think at this point, if you're familiar with me, you know how I feel about the red sweater crowd in the lower bowl. So,
yeah, but let's talk about it. There's nothing you can really do. Like,
of course not, because they're your big donors. But you would just hope that maybe they were there and didn't get to sit as close because they didn't get in line as soon as other people. And maybe they saw what a crowd should look like. And maybe that can be inspiring to them for next year.
Somebody did make an interesting point to me. Chelsea loves the youngins in the lower bowl. That's because you were sitting in the lower bowl, Chelsea. Look, you're going to the Big 12. You're going to get a little Big 12 money. Maybe you can find a way to make some things in the lower bowl a little bit more accessible, a little bit more available than they have been in the past, because you could tell those people were genuinely excited to be there, to be in those seats, to have that opportunity, especially for a good game. It was a good game.
I just hope that people who are, I don't know, of the age 50, 45 even, maybe we'll cap it at 45, but I'll go 50 and under, can find their way to those tickets just in general, because there's turnover. For whatever reason, people are too old to start attending games, or I don't want to go any morbid than that, but just, things happen. And
well, there's not going to be any turnover anytime soon because they're going to the Big 12 and ain't nobody going to want to give up their tickets.
Well, I was trying to avoid this, but when they're dead and the next generation takes over, I don't understand why we're not standing.
Aaron wants all the big money donors to die
and leave their money to the university. Yes,
you realize a lot of those people are members of this website.
In all realization, it's me just playing a shtick here.
Fun with it, yeah.
But I hope that they're able to see what an actual crowd looks like and try and replicate that, even a modicum, because I don't ever see people standing. The clapping is almost like a tennis. This isn't a tennis match. It's a basketball game.
And the crazy thing is, as loud as it got, there was nobody. Like, the upper deck was closed. That was not supplemented by anything else. That was strictly what was happening in the lower bowl. They had the curtains up. Like, the upper deck was legitimately closed. The only thing that was open was the lower bowl, and it was rowdy.
I wonder if that is part of what, like, with the sound being not necessarily absorbed, but bouncing off of the curtains. I wonder if that added to just.
I mean, they're not
just it being louder, with it being more compact and not echoing all the way back to the back walls and all that.
Yeah, and no student section. Not essentially no. I mean, there were no student, like spring break. So I don't know. For the NIT, for having the fans show up for those guys again. This is a fun team. This has been a fun team. Have they been perfect? No. Has it been flawed? Yes. Have there been things throughout the year that have been incredibly frustrating and annoying? Yes. But ultimately, this has been a fun team to watch, and they were fun again tonight. And the crowd responded to that. And we'll get to the game now. They started a little slow. And, that's going to happen with two teams that don't know each other, and you're just kind of feeling each other out. You don't know what the other team is going to do in terms of their game plan to stop you. I thought in the first half, and really for most of the game, Virginia Tech did a really good job running Cincinnati off the three-point line.
I was worried about that. I'm worried about that too, Daryl. I'm also worried about that too.
By the time all the young people who want those tickets in the lower bowl are able to get their hands on those tickets, they'll be the same age as the people who are sitting in those seats now. Probably not wrong. I also wonder if there's just a level of excitement to have them for the first time. And then when you have them for 20 games a year, the same thing happens that always happens is you just kind of blend into the ebb and flow of the excitement.
It's also hard to get up for Tulsa and SMU and ECU. As opposed to Kansas and
I want to say thank you to Dayton, honestly, because sure there would have been you'd have had a lot more Dayton fans in attendance. There would have been excitement if Dayton had come down here to play, but this was an ACC opponent, a decent ACC opponent, not a great ACC opponent, but it was a power conference team coming into Fifth Third Arena. And I think that generates a little bit of buzz as well. I would have been really interested to see what that place looked like if it was at 7.
It was also a top 40 offense for the year. Yeah. And Cincinnati made the stop. And I think I can finally say that they won a big game. I think this was a very big game. And I know some people were rooting against Cincinnati to win this game because it might mean certain people can come back or whatever weird reasons people have.
Cheer for your damn team. Just watch your team and want them to win. Why is that so hard anymore?
I don't know. Everyone's up in their feels. I think it's still post-pandemic depression.
It's crazy. Just watch your team and enjoy when they win. Why can't we do that anymore? It drives me nuts.
I don't have an answer for you there.
You know what doesn't happen when they win, Aaron? My mentions aren't full of angry people because the angry people can't be angry. And then they stop being angry until they lose again. And then when they lose again, my mentions will be full of angry people. It drives me crazy. It really does drive me crazy. It's what makes me the way that I am.
Turn off your mentions after the game.
Yeah, I'm not good at that.
Well, in any case, I don't know. I know you said that they were feeling each other out. I thought it took roughly about maybe that 3 to 5 minutes before the game really started to get physical, and there was no turning back. That game was physical from more or less that point until the last whistle.
Well, what's crazy is there were only 7 fouls in the entire first half. And I agree, the game was physical. The refs were just physical. You're going to play.
It was crazy physical. And
somebody gets murdered underneath the rim. Play on. Let's go.
I thought both teams kept their cool about it pretty well as well.
Yeah.
Like you didn't see guys getting ready to go to blows. And I think the refs were they seemed to be, when it started to escalate to a point where maybe you were going to run into something like that, they did start to call things a little bit. Or maybe it was just when certain players started to bitch at refs. Either way, I really enjoyed the pace of the game, just not getting clogged up with a ton of fouls.
Yeah, I did think the first half was a little slow. I think that was by design from Virginia Tech because I think they wanted to just we're a really good offensive execution team. and we're going to kind of try to grind you out. Let's be honest about something, though. I want to make this very clear about this game. It should have been quite a bit different in terms of the early score. Virginia Tech, who is a very good shooting team, got a lot of wide open looks.
Chad,
a lot of wide open looks.
It's your boy Jeff FFFFFFFFF Carr.
El Jefe. Look, I think we've seen a lot of this as the season has gone on, Jeff F.
The question is this a sign we were looking for from a Wes Miller coach team? Is this a sign that they're turning a corner next year?
I mean, we saw it against Temple. We saw it down the stretch of the season where really like the Memphis game, it was a blip on the radar. And but I think they beat Tulane at Tulane with Vic. I think they win at ECU if Vic doesn't get hurt, if Rob doesn't get hurt. Those things take time to adjust. But, I mean, they have played very good basketball down the stretch outside of the Houston game, which was an outlier. And here's what I think is a good sign. Here's where I'll agree with you, Jeff. And we don't know because it's 1 year. And just like last year was a 1 year small sample size where they fell apart down the stretch. This year they answered the exact opposite. And they finished playing the best basketball that they had played all season. Yeah, Houston was bad. Yeah. But as we found out, look, man, Memphis is pretty damn good. And I think Memphis could go on a little bit of a run in the tournament.
I mean, you got to a point tonight where you couldn't even get maybe your biggest spark plug into the game in Dan Skillings, simply because everybody else was
playing well.
So well.
Yeah. The thing that changed the game for me, and I asked the guys and I asked Wes about this in the post game, David DeJulius to start the second half really amped up the on-ball pressure, and that completely threw the rhythm of Virginia Tech's offense off.
It was a hand check party.
Oh, yeah. They didn't call anything.
No.
Dave was all in. Padilla, is that his name? Padula. He was in his grill to start the second half and just said, look, you're not getting anything easy. And we are going to push you out, and you're going to be playing between the circles to start your offense, and you're not going to find a rhythm. And it's going to be very difficult for you to be the offensive team that you guys have been all year. And the team fed off of it. You could tell. And then Micah makes that first three. And sometimes sometimes, well, I mean, they only shot 5 in the first half. It wasn't.
Just in time. I mean, it was just back and forth, 2 and 2, 2 and 2, and 2 and 2.
Isn't that what we wanted, though? Isn't that what people have asked for? Is if it's not there, don't just shoot threes to shoot threes.
I wasn't upset about.
I know. I'm just talking through
yes
the conversation
because I would much rather them make 2s. I mean, you hate the 2. I'm very aware.
I don't hate the 2. I want good 2s and 3s. That's analytics. That take good 2s and good 3s, and those are the shots. And get to the free throw line. Those are the shots you should be taking.
Well, in any case, that I think that 3 changed everything for everybody, and then it just seemed
it was like they were like, "All right, let's go."
Well, it was like after that they finally got open, right? Like they actually started running through, at least around the arc. They were starting to shoot open 3s as opposed to contested 3s, and I think they were making the extra pass or finding the guy who was wide open as opposed to Landers shooting maybe the worst 3 I've seen him shoot all season. Yeah,
I do like to make shots offense land big. Trevor said it's really good to see the refs let them play tonight. Need more of that, but agree the wide open looks. They can't take Hofstra lightly. Well, Hofstra's going to be a challenge, especially in their place.
And you hate
Locken.
Yeah, you hate that's a thing.
I know. Is Locken still playing hurt? His body language seems like he doesn't want to be there sometimes. I disagree with that completely. I think he's engaged. I think he's frustrated a little bit that he's
hurt.
He's not quite where he was before he got hurt. Like, that's Vic's an emotional kid. And when it's not going like great, he doesn't get down on himself. He just gets frustrated a little bit.
It's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah. I think Brett and I decided we're gonna Bert Kreischer put out his new special last night. I think we're just gonna start calling Vic the Machine. I am the Machine.
Because he's Russian, real original.
I know, yeah. You wanted to call him Victor Locked In. Blah, blah, blah. Is there a reason it couldn't be a neutral site since we're the higher seed, just too short notice? Yeah, I don't know what you could do between now and. Did you see it's Saturday at 2:00? The game. Yeah. So 2-day turnaround. And getting to Long Island on Friday. It's on ESPN Plus. That's just lovely.
Should be excellent for ratings.
2:00. I'm gonna be watching from my laptop in Kelly's hotel room or hospital room.
At this point, it seems like an extended.
It's a hotel. We're at an extended stay hotel. You just don't have the kitchenette. That's the only thing we don't have. They got a microwave down the hall. Yeah, just too short a notice, unfortunately, and it stinks. But they basically have been told you have this much time to get this done before graduation, and waiting until Monday.
And how many people would be pissed if there was a price tag for changing the date and time for the construction crew who's coming in to do all that anyway?
Well, and to tell them, not only are you on a tight timeline anyway, but we're going to need you to you're going to have to cut 48 hours out of your timeline to get this job done. It sucks. It sucks.
Oh, at the same time, though, I mean, what have I asked for specifically? I don't care about anybody else, but what have I asked for? Not just win the big game, but also win the big game on the road. And I think this allows them the opportunity to do both of those things before you get to Vegas. And at that point, you're tested. You know what I mean? Like, I think that would be you're battle tested. I don't know. I think that this is a really good opportunity for them. Again, if they really do truly care about growing as a team in this last tournament here, I think that that's important for this team.
Yeah. David DeJulius, man, 21 points. He didn't have it going from the field. He was 6 of 16. He was 0 of 5 from 3, but he was clutch. He was 9 of 11 from the line. He had 6 rebounds. He had 7 assists. Just like that's what you want from your senior leader, right? Just gutty, grind it out. No, that's Missy. Missy is very attention.
Perpetually in heat.
Perpetually in heat. She's not in heat right now. She's also really upset about the fact that there's nobody ever here to pay attention to her. So when somebody comes home, especially when I sit in this chair and start podcasting, she sits right here and waits for me to rub her little head because she doesn't get any lovin's anymore. Slap on some stickers. What are they even? They're sanding down the court and then refinishing it.
Only in like 2 corners, though, right?
No, the whole thing, but 2 corners specifically. There's going to be some extra work done in those 2 corners.
Just sand it down a little bit more over there.
A little bit. It's going to mean a little bit more when they've got the guy that's got that. We need to find out if Tobes is going to be the guy on the sander.
Don't screw it up.
That's funny. I don't know if there's a news. I would guess like this will be essentially blanking it out, and then they'll refinish it, and then the paint job, whatever, will come after that. I don't know anything about Utah Valley. Nothing. So I don't know if there's a new center court. I don't know of anything. I know that the AAC logo will not be like they took that thing off the football field almost immediately. Like almost immediately. I saw JT took a picture with the AAC logo. Hell no. Fuck that.
I saw that stupid that stupid Twitter handle that steals everyone's pictures that I don't want to mention by name.
Yeah.
Stole Stewie's picture. Shocker.
No, they stole Brian's picture. Baker, our photographer.
No, they stole Stewie's, and Brian said they always steal everyone's pictures. And if I got paid every time they stole a picture, I could retire.
They take Brian's pictures.
I hate them.
I know you do. I know. So yeah, Dave was outstanding. Like outstanding in battling through the adversity. Like when you really look at it, overall they didn't like it wasn't like they were like it's kind of wild they scored 80. They're just kids, old man. JT's not a kid.
No, they're talking about the people who run the other Twitter handle that steals everyone's pictures.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that that's the case either. It's probably like some 35-year-old dude who doesn't go to any of the games because he's busy with his kids, but he still runs that stupid Twitter handle.
The refs got the 2018 senior night treatment. Not wrong there. That was not a popular bunch. But again, they just let them play. Like they didn't call anything. Like the anger was the third foul on Landers. Yeah. But literally it was the fifth foul of the half combined for either team.
But I mean, you saw that affected his second half play because there were several fast breaks where he couldn't go up and contest the fast break.
Yeah. But yeah, Dave was awesome. Dave is kind of the Landers talking shit on Twitter an hour ago. There were some people on the bench for Virginia Tech that knew him from the first time that were jawing a little bit, getting into it with him a little bit.
That's how he gets up for games though. He'll talk shit to anyone and then be about as sarcastic about it as possible in the post-game presser. And I
like the cut of his jib.
Magical.
I love the cut of his jib. He reminds me of somebody I know. But 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Another huge, big-time assist night for Dave. No turnovers. So 21 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, no turnovers in 36 minutes. Look, I know the conference tournament was frustrating, but Dave made up for it tonight. Landers, you had 15 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists. Only 1 turnover. That's been a little bit of a bugaboo for Landers of late. So even despite 3 fouls in the first half, he had to be careful, but I never thought it affected like how he was playing overall. Just like you said, in little spots where it's like, I can't go up and try to smack this shit on the backboard on a fast break. But he was trying, he was getting the smaller Virginia Tech guards on him and was trying to back him down and shoot over him. Made a couple shots from that right baseline that helped really get things going in the second half as they were pushing ahead. I thought just a really quality game for Landers.
He also led the team in plus minus, and that's not an accident. As again, just everything he did tonight. And I don't know if you knew this or not. His mom was in attendance, and I don't know if that's. Really well when mom's there. I don't know if that's the first game that she was in attendance for this season, but I know. Okay. But obviously that was still something that meant something to him. So really happy with that performance out of him tonight, as I don't know that outside of not taking that 1-3 in the first half, that's the only real blemish. And I guess the third foul with 30 seconds left in the first half. But
it was probably the right call. In terms of was it a charge? Yes. But you can't make that call when the guy is mugging him as he's trying to get position. Right?
Yeah.
Just mugging him as he's trying to get position. And then he gets position and you call the charge. That's what made me mad.
And I can't remember if was that Mutz that he ran into. Do you remember?
Might have been. I don't remember who.
I think it was, and I think it came like a play or two after Mutz had gone to the ref and cried.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they were trying to make up a call or whatever the case may be. But
Alexander Smith, I think it was actually their assistant, like equipment guy that was sitting at the end of the bench just chirping at Landers the entire time. And it was one of the smaller guards. It was either Couture or Padula.
Couture, I was calling him because he had that stupid Frenchy goatee on his face. I just call him.
It actually is not even close to Couture. When the announcer said his name, I was like, "How the fuck do you pronounce that out of the way the letters are there?"
I just kept calling him French face Cooter.
French face Cooter. Jesus Christ. Oh my god.
I didn't like that guy. This team reminded me of Xavier. Just with a bunch of white boys who could shoot.
A couple big, like, physical rebounding presences. I get you.
And I feel like they played physical against Cincinnati in the way that Xavier does. Just I saw glimpses of Xavier throughout the game. So it felt like by the end of the game, I'm like, we kind of beat a Xavier team. All right, I like that.
The thing that I didn't even like, I knew about it, but I didn't really even like click to me because there's so much stupid shit going on in my brain, is how much history Mike Young and Wes Miller have.
They said it was 9-9 overall record.
Yeah, so they like for a long time, Aaron.
They
talk. Hated each other so much they didn't speak.
Yeah, I watched the post-game presser.
Yeah, they hated each other. Mike Young, I love that man. Did you see his post-game presser?
No, I didn't see his.
Like we were just chatting. He just wanted to sit around. He wanted to hang around, talk some basketball. They got done with the post-game press conference, and he stayed and just kept talking.
I'm not surprised. That was the longest handshake line I've ever seen because he seemed to want to stop and talk to, have a full conversation with everyone.
Well, again, a lot of those guys came with Wes. Mike Roberts was at UNCG. Yeah. Chris Lepore. Yeah. Pretty much everybody but Chad Dollar and Jake Thielen were at Greensboro, and they had battles. Like, those were the top two teams in that conference, and they hated each other.
I did read his lips enough to see him say, "I hope you win this whole damn thing," or something along those lines. So at this point, knowing now what I found out in the post-game presser and all of that, I'm not surprised. But I think it clearly was a game between two men who have a ton of respect for one another.
Yeah, and they did. I did see them in the spring and summer, like after Wes got the job, they would chat for a while. Everybody knows. So Andrew wants to know the connection. He talked to Chad Dollar for a while. Chad Dollar's dad is a legendary high school coach in Atlanta. So anybody that's recruited Atlanta that's of Mike Young's age has recruited somebody that played for Chad Dollar's dad. And then, Chad Dollar's brother played for UCLA and was on one of those great UCLA team. So Dollar knows everybody. Just from being,
Dollar is OG, Alex.
Absolutely. Like, he knows everybody loves Chad Dollar. So yeah, I'm not surprised that as long as his conversation was with Dollar. But he expressed a great deal of gratitude or admiration for Mike Roberts in the post game. He brought up the 06, maybe the second worst loss in Mick Cronin's career at Cincinnati in the regular season. Do you remember the 06 loss to Wofford? Mick's first year.
I was in college, and I don't know if I was able, that was before you could stream. So I'm not sure if I was able to get that up in Dayton or not, depending on.
So yeah, it was
It may not have been
right at
also.
So it was right at the beginning of Mick's tenure. It was the first year, and everybody here was still, pissed about Huggins and thought AK should have got the job, and pissed about Mick leaving for Louisville and da 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 da. And then the third game of that season, they lost to Wofford, and that was Mike Young's first year at Wofford. So he brought that up and mentioned it was like 02 or 03, and I was like, nah, coach, that was 06. I was here. I was sitting right there. I know where I was sitting when I watched you beat fucking Mick's team. I saw it. I seen it. And actually, I would have to check. I think it was the second year. But whatever. That's neither here nor there. He was ready to hold court and talk for an hour. He just his player got up to lead the press conference. We thought the press conference ended. And he just kind of leaned back in his chair and was like, y'all want to talk some ball? I hate the last day. He's like, I hate the last day of the season. I hate this because now the season's over and I'm done doing press conferences and talking ball and, getting ready for games. And I was like, hey man, look, if Cincinnati ever needs a coach, I'm all in on Mike Young just because I think that guy would be fun to just hang around and talk basketball with.
Sounds about right.
Let's see. What else we got? We've done
Jeremiah Davenport.
Okay, go.
Good to see him finally have a Jeremiah Davenport type game. He only
especially second half. Second half, yeah.
Correct. But that's when threes started falling. But he had a drive fadeaway in the first half, and that was almost out of character for him. I think that was his first points, if I'm not mistaken. But 3 of 5 from the 3-point line, and there were a couple different times where the whole roof would have blown off if he had hit a couple of those two missed threes. But in any case, happy to see him get his stroke back. Happy to see him hit double digits again. I don't think they win this game actually with him not finding some of that rhythm again. He
provided a spark right in that middle section where they were just trying to get ahead and stay ahead.
And I don't think they win this game without him today. And I think that's regardless of how this offseason plays out for Jeremiah Davenport, whether he goes to another team, whether he's done with hoops, whether he's back, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that I think that he's going to look back as this being one of the just better experiences of this season for him.
Yeah. Holly, I just want to say it was great to meet you tonight, Holly. And Holly is the reason that this show is live. I was not going to go live tonight. We were going to record. And Holly, on her way out of the arena, was like, live nightcap tonight? And I was like, you know what, Holly? Fuck it. We're going live.
Thanks, Holly.
Aaron thanks you. Aaron thanks you.
And then the other player I wanted to bring up was Dan.
Well, the other thing for Jeremiah.
Okay.
21 minutes. 12 points. 4 of 6 from the field. 3 of 5 from 3. 3 rebounds. He did get. You're never going to erase this. He did get a little picked on defense in the second half. They were going at him when they had the chance. That's going to happen in the Big 12.
He didn't get picked on as bad as Dan.
Dan in the second half as soon as they tried to put Dan in the second half, they picked on Dan. But look, you want to talk about what's the difference now between Dan Skillings and the first half of the year? When he hits that reverse spin move, goes baseline.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of the year, he's going all the way to the other side and trying to
reverse,
use his leg to flip that thing up. And instead, he stayed on the power side. He made the spin move. He made the perfect angle to get himself back out from underneath the basket and got the ball up on the strong side of the rim as he abused the defense. And then hit that little 12-footer, then made a great pass, had a couple rebounds, and it was this is the maturation of Dan Skillings. We're seeing it right in front of our eyes.
Now, on the negative side, he was one of 3 players to finish with a plus minus in the
He got
negative,
picked on in the second half defensively.
and his was the worst at minus 11.
Yeah.
But again, that's another one where he provided a huge jump in the game where Cincinnati was struggling a little bit to find their offense in that section of the game,
In the
and
first half, yeah.
he gave them something off the bench that the starters weren't able to provide.
Yeah. He's getting there, man. And you can see his body's filling out. He doesn't look like a baby deer as much anymore. He looks like maybe a baby horse.
I also like
instead of a deer.
I also like that Wes basically said he's at the sophomore level where we expected him to be next year, but he's there now. And
he's getting there. Yeah.
He said that the last 5 or 6 weeks have really been a huge step forward for Dan, and I think that's worth noting for the people who don't go back and watch the presser. I thought that was a huge note that I had.
Yeah, absolutely. Where else you want to go next? Micah,
Sure.
hit that first 3 that really kind of opened the floodgates in the second half. 52-point second half. Micah was a big part of that. He finished with 10, 4 of 9 from the floor, 2 of 4 from 3. Here's the thing with Micah. When he plays against a team that doesn't have a rim protector, he can get to the rim.
Yeah.
When the opponent's got a strong rim protector, he struggles at the rim. He can get there. He's the one guy on this roster that can consistently get downhill and get to the rim. He just needs a team like Virginia Tech that doesn't really have a big shot blocking presence. And, a really good game for Micah.
His defense against whichever guard he was on, because they switched out, it felt like pretty frequently.
But between Padula,
whichever one he was on at whatever point in time, he seemed to have. It wasn't.
He did give up a couple layups where he gave up, gave up a right. Yeah. The thing I would say where I had more of a problem with Micah is he would give up a right-handed layup to a right-hand dominant guy.
That's not great.
You got to know that guy's going right, and you got to keep him from that. Dave did a better job of that than Micah did.
I felt like Micah didn't really get into the physicality that
Dave was physical.
Dave channeled the physicality.
Yeah.
But Dave, I think, can do it without getting himself into foul trouble, where it's clearly reaching in. Whereas Micah just kind of he did what he needed to do, but it wasn't at the same level.
No. Dan's ability to get to the hoop is a nice contrast to what our other guards have not been able to do. Yeah. I mean, that's Dan's strength is his first step. He's got the reason Dan is going to play in the NBA and potentially play in the NBA for a long time, the way his trajectory is going, is in large part because of his first step with the ball in his hand. Because it's long and it's explosive. And guys they're going to continue for the rest of his career, and it's going to happen in the NBA. They have a hard time staying in front of when he really rips and goes. You just physically, it's almost impossible to maintain your position. And then he's also starting to develop those spin moves that kind of contrast that. What else we got? 42-29 on the glass. Massive. 13 offensive rebounds to 7. They did do 2, when Virginia Tech did get second chance points, they basically converted every time. So the second chance points were tied. 5 blocks to 1, 5 steals to 3. Cincinnati led in both of those.
11 lead changes, 13 ties in this game.
It was a great game. It was a fun game. Look, if you're going to play in the NIT, damn it, give me a fun game.
17 of 20 from the free throw line for a team that has certainly of late had some struggles there.
Well, it's either they've been really
good,
awesome, or terrible.
Yeah.
Now, it helps when you get Dave to the line 11 times.
That doesn't.
Because Dave's going to make a bunch of free throws. So Dave goes 9 of 11. Landers is 4 of 4. So you get 15 free throws from those two, and you make 13 of them. Then Vic's 3 for 3. The only other Jeremiah was 1 for 2. So yeah, like if look, I'll tell you this, Aaron. If you're telling me Landers and Dave get 15 free throws a night, I feel real good about this team's free throw shooting.
Well, that means they're driving to the hoop, which means that they're aggressive, and all of those things are good things. It's really good to see the field goals up to 29 made field goals tonight, as opposed
better
to
than 13. It's better than 13.
I don't want to ever see a teen. I don't want to see any teen number in the first spot of the made field goals there. That's gross and boring basketball. For a team that likes to play up tempo, you don't ever want to be anywhere in the teens. Holly said she's surprised Josh Reed got into the game. He wasn't in very long.
In for a good little stretch in the first half. I think that's perfect for Josh in terms of like giving your guys some rest for the second half. If you can get Josh a 3 or 4 minute segment
for
in the first half.
An Odie Gasper or
a wing,
Vic.
like either or, just get Josh in there and give everybody, or it's an extra. Essentially, you're buying like a minute and a half for 2 different guys.
It's just hard to have a whole lot of extended time right now with both Josh and Dan on the floor at the same time.
Well, I mean, you're looking at a 7-man rotation. The starters, Dan and JD, and with Kalu and Josh, if you can buy a couple minutes in the first half, especially right now, for the a couple of the guys, then they're providing a necessary lift.
I guess I was surprised to see Kalu have such
only a 3
short leash. Yeah,
I don't think it was a short leash. I just think JD was playing well at the 4. Odie was playing well 4 and 5, and then you had Vic out there for 26 minutes.
And we haven't talked about Vic. Vic finished with 9 points, 8 rebounds, couple blocks, a steal.
He's not back yet to like his full capability, but if you tell me Vic's going to give you 9 and 8, I'll take it.
I like seeing him get his quick hands back too, at least enough to get a steal. And that's something that's been missing out of his bag of tricks since he's been back from injury. So,
and here's the other thing, something I didn't get to just running through some of that stuff. Only 8 free throws for Virginia Tech. Where this team has got itself in trouble are teams that have gotten to the line 20, 22, 25 times.
For as physical as they were, though, they didn't drive very much. They just really were a catch-and-shoot team, and I did not expect them to catch and shoot that much.
Yeah, but if they stack, no, that's their offense. That's what they do. But if you start stacking fouls, and some of that is attributable to the way the officials called the game, and doing. Look, we talked about this. We've talked about this a lot, Aaron. We want Cincinnati to adjust to how the game is being called. They did it tonight.
Yeah, and
they were like, if you're second half, if you're going to let us play physical.
It was before that. I told you. It seemed like the switch went off for them. Because I keep an eye on that kind of stuff. I thought that the switch went off for them right around that 3 to 5 minute mark in the first half, and I don't think they ever looked back.
Yeah. Well, Dave told Wes coming out of the locker room, I'm gonna turn this into a rock fight. Like, essentially, if they're gonna let me go bully that guy, I'm gonna go bully the shit out of him. Like, let's go. Aaron watches for attitude and ankles.
Football's for ankles. I don't have anything else. I want to go to bed.
All right, you can go to bed. I'll tell you what. Here's what I'll do. Present, share screen, share. All right. You go to bed, and I'll just sit here with the stats up, And if people want to like stick around and talk, I'll stick around and talk. Because I'm wide awake and I don't have a lot of like, I'm not going to bed anytime soon. You have a little one to wake up and deal with in the morning, right?
She'll probably want a bottle here at some point in the next, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah. I'm going to save the Bengals talk for me. Like I got 3 hours on radio tomorrow during the NCAA tournament, where I'm sure everybody's going to be listening to ESPN 1530. There's nothing else going on.
All right. Well,
you go to bed.
I
appreciate you giving me 45 minutes tonight. I offered Aaron to do this, where I would just talk and chat with everybody while the stats were up. And he was like, "No, I want in. I want to talk about the game. I'm up. Let's do it."
I watched it.
Yeah, you might as well talk about it for a while. Go to bed. Get the hell out of here. I'll see you tomorrow. Or Saturday or something. I don't know. Whatever.
Okay.
Get out of it. I'm trying to kick him out. How do I? No, we don't want to do that. Damn it. Huh. Let's try this again. I guess I have to do it like this. I don't want to do it like I want to. No. Maybe, I don't know. I just don't want my giant head. Am I good? Can you hear me? Am I talking? How's that? Are we fixed? We should be fixed. Okay. What else? What else you guys want to talk about from the game? Anything? I mean, because I'll stop. Oh, the dogs are angry. All right, good. I just like I'm impressed. You look at you got 4 of your 5 starters in double figures. Vic with 9 and 8. Like you'll take that from your 5th starter, right? If I told you like going into the game, Landers, Micah, Dave, and Odie are going to have double digits. Jeremiah's going to have double digits. Vic's going to have 9 and 8. We would have felt really good about this. And that's what happened. I do respect that Virginia Tech team was a fun team to watch. Now, if they would have hit threes at a 35% clip, even 10% higher than they would have, that would have been trouble. Can I see this team making a run? Yeah. I mean, you've got Hofstra at Hofstra, which is not going to be easy. That's a really good mid-major. You've got to play in their place. So that's a challenge. But if you beat Hofstra, you're going to have either Utah Valley or Colorado. Neither of those teams are world beaters, for a chance to go to Vegas and play in the NIT Final Four. So, yeah, definitely. The way this is set up, like, it's a lot, the NIT, you got to win 5 games to win a championship. Am I excited about the NIT? No. But I did think this was a fun game to cover. It was a fun game to watch. And, again, if you're a fan of a team and they give you a game in the postseason that was fun to watch, that they won, I enjoy it. and then look forward to saying, all right, the number 1 seed, like Cincinnati Rutgers would have been, I would love to have seen Cincinnati play that Rutgers team because they barely missed the tournament. But they didn't show up. They didn't show up early. And by the time they got it going, Hofstra had confidence. I think that's kind of the key, is especially playing at Hofstra, you're going to have to go into their place and shut them up early because you have better players. Not that they have bad players, but you should have more better players. You're Cincinnati. You go into their place. If you play well and you get some baskets early, you build momentum and you can win that game. And then if you win that game, you're in the Elite Eight of the NIT, and you see where the chips fall from there. So, yeah, I could see them making a run. Definitely. That's a tricky question, Leiter. Do I think the crowd can change anything the athletic department does with reseeding? I just don't know how. The lower bowl is full of people, full of the people that fund the athletic department. I don't know how you tell those people, we need you to move to not as good seats so that we can move people into your seats. Here's the tricky part. To move the people from the upper deck down to the lower deck, you have to lower the cost of the seats, or else they would already be down there. So what happened tonight? The price of the seats was reasonable, way more reasonable than the commitment it takes to buy lower bowl seats normally. And every program has this argument. I hear this argument from Kentucky fans every year. Every year I hear this argument from Kentucky fans. Got to get the blue sweater crowd out of the seats close to the floor at Rupp Arena. Well, those are the people that fund your program. And if you lower the cost of seats, guess what? They still can afford them and will buy them. So it's a tricky formula. Now, tonight was awesome. Those people that had those, that bought, that went online at 9 a.m. and bought those seats, and I saw a bunch of people that were really enjoying themselves and enjoying the opportunity to be in a different level of seating. They bring the energy. But you know how college sports is. Money talks. And you want to charge as much as you can so that your athletic department can get as much as it can. And if there are people willing to pay the high pricing, then those people will get the seats. Do we all wish that they would be louder and a little more rowdy and a little bit more, fired up? Yeah, of course. Now, maybe what happens, is that when you get into the Big 12, the games are a lot more intense. The games are a lot different. And the lower bowl becomes a lot more energized as the competition level changes. As you're not watching ECU and Tulane and Tulsa, like, now you're going to have every year Kansas and Baylor and Iowa State and Kansas State and Texas Tech and WVU, and there's going to be reason to get excited in those seats more now. So we'll see. I wish Chelsea wishes Vic would have gotten a double-double. I absolutely agree. Lighters, it's so noticeable. Our season tickets are near the top of the lower bowl. My dad always gets annoyed how quiet the 15 rows in front of us are. Yeah, it's annoying. but they can afford it. So they get the seats. Big donors buy a lot of seats and don't use them all. Somewhat true, but for the most part, when the games matter, like, yeah, the big donors buy a lot of seats, and when they play, a bye game on December 18th, the seats don't get used. Trust me, Chris, when I say this. Going forward, the seats are going to get used. The demand is going to change. Let's make the seats a free for all after halftime. It's not exactly how it works, Samuel. I wish it did. That's, you stand up in your section and people ask you to sit. That sucks. Just tell them, look, like, we're here to cheer. If you cheer on the Bearcats, stand up. I have to stand up. If things are going really well from my media seat, I have to stand up and move to the aisle because I'm short. So I have to stand up, move to the aisle, watch the game, standing up from the aisle, and then go back to my laptop and put stuff on the internet from my laptop. This I don't hate, Samuel. A couple of games a year where we do tickets like they did today. I don't hate that. I don't hate a bye game or two. Just being like, hey, these two games are going to be general admission or like first come, first serve. 72 hours before tip, we're going to open the floodgates, and we're going to, you can go on gobearcats.com or go 877 Cats Ticks, whatever the case. And like, we're going to have a couple games a year where it was done like it was today. I don't hate that. Alexander, I remember the student section from the Big East days. The student section in the Big 12 days is going to show up. For sure. Yeah. So I agree. Like there's got to be a way that it gets better in terms of building that excitement in the lower bowl. Because tonight was fun. It was fun watching it. It was really fun seeing, and the team builds off of that energy. Also, let's have another conversation about this. What we saw tonight is why arenas should be smaller. Venues, sporting venues are going to need to be smaller going forward. Like if that was if when they did the renovation, if they made it a 11,000, not a 10,000 seat arena, that's where things are going. It's why everybody, and I hate that place, but it's why everybody talks about Centos. They found their sweet spot. 10,000 fans, everybody's close, everybody feels like they're on top of the action, feels like they're part of it. And for the most part, I mean, they're at 8, 9 or sell out every night. And that's where sports are going. That's why, like, when everybody talks about Nippert needs to get to 50, 60,000, no, it doesn't. It's perfect where it's at. Maybe if you can add, like, if you can redo it in some way, shape, or form, redo Shank Pavilion and change it to add more premium seating so that, you still have the money folks in the fan base allowed to spend for more amenities, more luxury, and then you still can accommodate 40, 45,000 fans. That's where this is going. I'm not opposed to eventually re-looking at Fifth Third and saying, okay, we're going to take another part of the entrance side, which is east, maybe west, I don't know. But where the Oscar statue is, where you come in, and turn more of that middle section into premium seating, then potentially you can move some of the premium seating that's down near the court into those premium seats, and then allow for a little bit more debauchery, if you will, into that lower section by the court. I don't know that it's ever going to happen that way, but just spitballing some ideas. I have not been to TQL Stadium, but it looks great. The design looks great. There's 26,000 seating capacity there, and it just fits the fan base. Daryl says we've been talking about the red sweater crowd since '98. It's been going on for 25 years. Thinking very music hall. And on a side note, All Ohio Red AAU Circuit Squad under 15 is loaded. I'll see All Ohio Red plenty of times. But here's the thing. It's been going on everywhere in college basketball for as long as I can remember. Every fan base is pissed off that the old people have the seats closest to the court and that they have to sit in the upper deck while the old people sit on their hands, old people in parentheses, while the old people sit on their hands and the common folk can't get access to those tickets. It's been going on everywhere for a long time. It happens at Louisville, the red sweater crowd. They call them at Louisville. They call them the red sweater crowd here. They call them the blue hairs, I think is what they call them at Kentucky. Every fan base has this argument where the younger generation that sits, and you're talking, when I say younger generation, I'm not talking the college kids. I'm talking like 30 to 45. Like that crowd is either in the lower part of the upper deck or in the upper part of the lower deck. And they all complain in every fan base about how the people sitting below them don't make enough noise. And tonight showed they were right. And it happens everywhere. When those people get a chance to buy those tickets, it's better in terms of atmosphere. But college sports is about money. It's always been about money. It'll always be about money on the trajectory that we're on. Somebody did say tonight, hey, maybe some of that Big 12 money we could think about how do we get the lower bowl a little more rowdy. But like I said earlier, the answer is the people with the money are still going to buy those tickets. If you make them cheaper, you're just going to make less money, and the same people are going to have the tickets. Students are all lowest at Michigan. The other one, SMU has done something like that. Cameron has that little section. You really, and maybe this is something that is a challenge that UC is up for in terms of, they have a design school. Design it in a way that you can get more energy in that area right around the floor. Maybe. But I know those people that sit there aren't going to be real happy if you tell them that you're moving their seats. All right, we're done. Andrew just walked it off. He just walked it off. I got to go to bed. I got to do a radio show tomorrow. I'm in for Mo. DeAndre Williams will have premium seats in Memphis next year. Well done, sir. Well fucking done. I'm in for Mo tomorrow, 3 to 6 on ESPN Radio. We'll see. Aaron and I maybe we'll try to get a quick recorded nightcap in tomorrow night to preview Hofstra, and then we'll go from there. So thank you to everybody for tuning in. This was awesome. Had a great time. A much bigger crowd than I expected. It's 1:36 in the morning, and there's still a pretty good number of you here. You guys are the best. I appreciate it. Thanks to everybody that said hello tonight. It was great seeing some of you again and meeting some of you for the first time. So we'll see you soon. That's the Nightcap, brought to you by